That would help.
Okay, there we go.
We're up and running? Cool.
Pull it up on my phone real quick, just so that way. I forgot to grab my tablet this morning, because usually when we have a guest, I grab a tablet.
I was going to say, yeah. I'm not supposed to read what my fans are saying.
Okay, let's see.
Yes, I can pull mine up.
Yeah, hello. Okay.
Hey, we are live. Cool.
Yeah, we're live. Hi, peoples. Yay, we're live. Peter is turning off other stuff.
Making it less loud in
Oh, wait.
here.
You put...
You want less
you're talking
loud?
in the wrong spot.
No, he said he was moving over there.
Okay. I'm switching then.
Yeah. I was wondering. I was like,
Let us know if you can hear us.
Can you hear us? Anyone in the... Why is there no one?
Henning, you there?
I don't see where are my chatters?
Oh,
There we go. KO. Yay,
there's
David.
Henning. Thanks, buddy.
Okay, awesome. Well, welcome to the Sunday morning Genus live stream that we start at 8:45 every morning prompt. You guys just weren't here?
Yep. We started it. You guys just you missed out. It was really fun. So our clothes are back on now though, and we're getting rolling. This is the live stream where we talk about beer and beer stuff. Today we're talking about selling beer, so it's gonna be a little bit of a twist. It should be a good little crossover. Let's jump into some Genus beer news. First of all, actually, let's jump into. Do you have any news? Anything new and happening around?
Well,
the
first of
Spokane?
all, this is Marcus.
Also, hi, guys.
Yeah, that's
Hey, gals.
Yep.
Marcus, tell us a little bit about your history in the beer world here in Spokane and elsewhere.
Oh, man. So I started in the industry working for Orlison Brewing. What year was that? 2015, I think.
I think I was still in the old shop. I remember you coming in when I was still in the
Yeah.
old spot.
Yep. And then started to as a taproom manager there, and then a year later moved into sales and took over the Eastern Washington, Northern Idaho market. And then about a year later after that, I ended up taking over the west side of the state as well. So I had the whole region for my sales area. And unfortunately, Orlison is no longer around. So then I've been bouncing around. I worked at Perry Street Brewing for a little bit. I help out at TT's Old Iron Brewing here in Spokane every once in a while, and now I'm just pouring beer at Community Pint on Sundays usually. So after this, I'll be headed to work.
Nice.
Just I can't seem to not be a part of the industry.
It's a fun industry to be a part of, but I think since you've been both repping and person to person, you kind of have a unique perspective on something that a lot of people that get into the really nerdy side of beer don't really know, and that's how to take everything that we try to learn as beer brewers and translate it into people who think they know off, their 20 minutes of Google research, and then just, they know a little bit.
Yeah.
Wait, are you saying brewers don't also do 20, 30 minutes Google research to pretend they know what they're talking about?
That's true. Maybe these guys do less. They just heard that one guy at the bar say it one time and think they're experts.
Yeah, that happens a lot, actually. You'd be surprised.
Yeah, so diving in. So any brewing news?
Not that I'm really aware of.
Community Pint, anything going on? Anything TT's going on?
That you're aware of?
I don't know about TTs, but Rachel would be a much better person to ask for that.
That's true.
Yeah, I usually just help with events and stuff, pouring for them, because that's what I like to do. I like being behind the bars, talking to the folks and handing them beers.
Nice. Yeah, that's good. With TTs and us and a handful of other Valley breweries, we just started the planning phase for the Valley Cup Part 2, which is going to happen in the fall. I think we settled on a pretty fun topic, but I can't disclose it just yet.
I'll
John
ask you for it
thank you so much for the super
Now
chat.
I want to know.
I know, right?
Thank you for the super chat.
Other than that, Genus Brewing News, we're planning a brew day at 45 degrees north. Where'd we end up?
45 degrees brew house.
45 degrees south. One of the between brew house. Matt, why don't you talk about where we landed on that and what happened on last week?
Again, follow up. I think me and Tim haven't finalized recipe quite yet, but we're going to go with a steam IPA. So take the classic American steam beers and do an IPA twist, which is even more American because we Americans like to add hops to everything. So that will be for Stefan Stahmeyer. That is also going to be your special live stream.
Yeah.
So
We still want to do the live stream, maybe a little bit less complicated, but live stream where we do kind of do some of the things where we're running through the system and talk about how we find gaps in the system and get a little bit better there.
So, but yeah, we're working on that. So, yeah, that's it. And then as soon as their 1-barrel system gets the transformer gets installed for that, I will be starting to brew more often there.
Nice.
So
little regular updates will be on everybody's Instagrams and Discords and all that.
Yep, and and we with that we've decided in the Discord the brew style for trying to brew a beer as close to style this month is going to be the British Brown Ale, which I'm going to try to do on the 1-barrel system. So get your recipes, get your beers brewed, and then send them to us so that way me and Peter can actually do hopefully a sit down side by side of my British Brown versus all your guys' British Browns.
Hopefully, fingers crossed.
So.
We got Brewers Fest in Washington and over in Seattle, wherever it's at.
Redmond.
Redmond. Yep.
Barrymore Park.
You gonna be there?
No, I won't be.
You're just missing out.
Yeah.
Matt'll be there. I won't be there either. It's a bummer.
Yeah, that's a fun one. There's so many good beers there.
Yeah, I was gonna say
it's incredible.
Instead of staying with the rest of the Genus crew, which is their Airbnb is a 20-minute drive, which will take donations for their Airbnb costs.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
I work a full-time job, so I just got a hotel that was a 20-minute walk. Because I am not driving, and I'm also not crashing with 4 other people.
Yeah.
In an Airbnb.
I can think of worse things. And then Iron Gut Brewing Company, one of the oldest breweries in Spokane. Were they before or after the No Line name change?
They were after.
Before. Because I know that used to be 12 Strings kind of claim to fame because they were before the No Line name change, and so they counted it as a different brewery because different owners, different name.
Yeah, no.
So then the 12 String would tell everyone that they were the oldest brewery in Spokane. That might technically make Iron Goat if they're before the.
No, I think they're after because Iron Goat. I remember when Iron Goat opened and it was No Lie when I moved back to Spokane.
Okay, well, top 2.
So because it used to be Oralson was up there for a long time, and then.
Yeah, well, I mean, if it's a new name, new brewery, then because Golden Hills was around for a long time.
Yeah, I remember Golden Hills started when I was still down at Pullman.
The header's wrong, Peter.
What's the head? Oh, you didn't change the header. I thought that was natural. Hey, we're gonna talk about beer.
Then the other news is we have our Belgian Brett Ale on. The whatever it is called, I can never pronounce the names of the beers here. So, while Peter fixes the title, mitochondrialitis. It is absolutely delicious and amazing and everything. And me and Marcus decided we're gonna go coffee beers this morning.
Yeah, the coffee culture is fantastic.
Yep, and I have the coffee stout. Both are with Castor Munchers with the Warren's coffee too, right? Yep. So
nice.
Warren, the amazing, arguably one of the sexiest people behind the taps here.
He's second to me for sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's that's why I said arguably.
Hey, no, I'm the man in the chair. I turn the pad on while I'm over here, so if I'm talking, people can hear me.
Okay. Yeah. And then other news I forgot to put down is we just had our first major Ales for ALS event here in Spokane. I know a lot of the breweries have participated in the Ales for ALS brewing for years.
Yeah.
But we just had our first actual event where Humble Abode legitimately shut down. It was only the event, and they had jockey boxes set up in their front doorway. They opened up their garage so people can get in and out. Then they had it in the garage, and then they had their actual taps.
Oh, fun.
So that was a blast. All IPAs, obviously, because that's what people do with the ALS.
I think there's somebody who made a not IPA, like a really hoppy.
There was
I was just talking to somebody who made like a dark beer.
Yeah. Oh no. Precious Things, the black IPA.
You know, it was.
Oh, nice.
It was the pastry people. You know what I'm talking about. Downtown, Tim and David.
Black Label?
Oh, Mountain Lakes.
Oh, Mountain Lakes, yeah.
Yeah.
They made like a German chocolate cake or something like that.
Well, that was
on the last live stream. It was their ALS blend.
Yeah, but they also did an IPA for the event. They did a session IPA for the event too.
Well, I like my part of the story better. So,
So yeah.
I say the German chocolate stout
yeah,
with those hop profile. Ooh.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's I love that we do the IPAs with the AS for ALS, but I also like seeing what people can do with non-IPAs for that.
Yeah.
Because for you guys that don't know, it's a custom hop blend by Yakima Valley Hops that they do every year, and they donate the hops to the brewery as long as you donate all proceeds of that beer to ALS research.
Yeah.
So really cool and everything. But yeah, that was a super fun event that happened.
And if you see those up in your breweries tap rooms, make sure to have them.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, because it supports causes. And they're always good. I mean, it's a good hop blend, too.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've never had a bad one.
Yeah.
I've had like a couple that I just wasn't thrilled with, but like the hop blend, and I think that was more of just what they did with the malt rather than the hops. But again, it's always been good. So yeah, but I think that covers the beer news. So
which means it's time for our beer of the week. Bump up, beer of the week. Yeah.
And because we're doing British brown ales this month,
feel about this.
I was like, okay, I'll just dance with it.
What's going on?
yeah,
it's like a dog when you walk in. I'm like, I'm happy to be here. I don't know why, but.
But yeah, we're doing. And thank you for letting us know the title change because Peter is awesome.
Woo!
But because we're doing the beer styles, the British brown ales, I figured let's cover it. So yeah.
So British brown ales, we'll kind of speed run through some of the technical stuff. Basically, this used to be the category of, I believe it was the Northern English brown, where it is Southern English brown. Northern was a hoppy one. Southern was a slightly more caramely one. So this is going to be this dark amber to reddish, very high clarity brown ale that is medium alcohol, between 4 and 6%, and it's going to have some distinct caramel characteristics. So it's going to be relatively sweet. We'll speed run through some technical stuff, but then more or less we're going to talk about how you would portray something that's a very specific style within browns, and maybe talk about it with people that are just like, I want some Mac and Jacks, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So appearance is going to be that dark amber to dark grayish brown. You don't want to get into the kind of the blacks and dark browns at all. You're definitely in the porter category there with that color, and it's going to be clear. Like you're going to be able to see relatively through it, and it's going to be an off-white kind of light tan head on that.
Yeah, and aroma it's gonna be light, sweet, malty aroma with toffee, nutty, light chocolate notes, heady caramel quality. One of the ways you're gonna look at this is going to be it's gonna have a lot of the same ruby tones as like an amber. So this is getting into it's kind of the difference between a porter and a stout, where you're gonna have either just direct black colors or you're gonna have that amber ruby hue. This is definitely in that amber ruby hue, so that caramel development is definitely there. It's a relatively sweet beer, and it's a little bit more alcohol than most things in the brown category.
Yeah,
that's all I got.
Yeah, I was gonna say aroma. You're gonna get those toffee, nutty, light, and nutty is actually a very common descriptor for a lot of British browns.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I don't think I've seen one that doesn't use that as a descriptor.
Did you also throw in malt backbone though? You gotta say malt backbone.
Malty backboner.
Yeah. It's got this huge malty backbone.
And then so you're gonna get, and it's not very hop forward, but you are still gonna get some of those earthy floral hops. I prefer more earthy hops personally.
Yeah.
To play around with that nutty.
With that nutty malt boner.
Yeah. And now Marcus is like, why did I sign up for this?
No, I'm trying to find the chat so I can.
And then flavor, as we're speed running. You're going to definitely have that malt sweetness there, the malt boner. Light to caramel character, some biscuity, just a little bit of chocolate notes there. And then medium body, as we said, it's going to be a fairly clear beer.
Medium high carbonation. This is I believe the style that Newcastle will fall under.
Yes.
Yep, Newcastle will fall under. But I will add that all the nut browns pretty much are going to fall into this. But I'll add that Newcastle uses artificial caramel flavoring in theirs, and it's disgusting. I can never not taste that whenever I taste a Newcastle.
I was going to say.
Oh great! Now I'm going to go taste one. I'm like, oh man, I love this beer too.
I can't get over it. It's one like the first time I tasted it, and then right after I read that, I was like, yep. Yep, there it is.
That's the flavor I'm getting. Okay.
Yeah. Well, actually, Adam Chumley, to get into your answer, kind of the classic ingredients are going to be British mild or pale malts. I wouldn't say Maris Otter is probably a fine malt for this.
I mean, it is. It's got a strong malty boner.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's gonna be a pretty hard malt bill.
And then there may be some dark. You could add chocolate malt.
It's one of the few categories that you're going to get some caramel or caramel hybrids in. It's just kind of hard to get away from in this style. If you wanted to get really technical and make something better, you can do process, but this is designed to be a session beer. It's got all the malt, big sweet flavors, but it's designed to be a beer you can put back a number of them, like Newcastle.
What would be your quick off the top of your head beer recipe?
If I was selling this to a brand new home brewer, let's go all grain, and I didn't want to go into my whole caramel spiel, I'd probably just go 10 pounds of English Pale. Halcyon would be my go-to, because obviously, and then it'd probably be just a little bit of C75, probably like a half pound of C75. I'd add some sort of a biscuit quality to it, either an aromatic malt. I really like Franco Belge's aromatic malt, and a small amount of pale chocolate, small amount of roasted barley, or carafa actually probably. So maybe like 0.25 of pale chocolate and 2 ounces of carafa.
And then hops, I just Fuggles.
Yeah, Fuggles, Goldings, whatever, Challenger.
Yeah, and keep it simple, and fairly late hop additions, just so you can get that aroma rather than the bittering.
Did you know this is a wider ranging category with different interpretations? A lot of them, and then it ranges from lighter colored to hoppy, deeper, dark, or caramel focused. I'm just trying to read.
I kind of skipped all that.
Oh, the history is probably pretty cool. Brown ale has a long history in Great Britain, although different products that use that name at various times. Modern brown ale is a 20th century creation. It's not the same as historical products with the same name. A wide range of gravities were brewed, but modern brown ales are generally the stronger ones by UK standards. This style is based on modern, strong British brown ales, not historical versions like the sweeter London brown ale, also described in the historical beer category, predominantly but not exclusively a bottled product currently. So all that to say, as I've mentioned a lot of times, I memorized the pre-2015 style guidelines, and this was when they had Northern and Southern English Brown and English Mild. I think, is English Mild still in the someone look it up in the comments. Is English Mild still in the...
Yes, it's actually 13A, I think.
Okay. So, I mean, but that also all used to be like the brown stuff that you can get out of Britain, and now it's differently categorized.
Yeah, it's because I scrolled past that, I think. I'm not 100% sure.
Cool.
Patrick Sandy asks, caramel malt substitutes that doesn't involve making your own special B with an English yeast. Would that work?
Yeah, that'd work. I don't like English yeasts that are too fruity on this style, just because I don't want it to get super swampy. I would say Cara Munich's kind of the best hybrid malt. I do like the idea of special B, but it'd be a very, very small quantity. You don't want this to turn into like a Belgian-y kind of feel. So.
And then Tom actually mentions he likes using a little bit of brown sugar in it to get that sweetness.
Nice. I can see that.
Yeah.
A little brown sugar action.
And Reverend, they legitimately just updated it, I think October or November.
Yeah, we're now to like 2021 style guidelines.
Yeah, so.
I'm still on 2008.
I know.
I refuse to memorize that many beer styles again, though.
That's impressive.
The app, I'm going to say the BJCP app is still 2015.
Yeah, but they've updated in the app. It just still
No,
says...
the app is legitimately still 2015 styles.
They don't have the new ones? I thought it updates.
No, the website's updated, but not the app.
Yeah.
It's harder to update an app.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know.
I was like, yeah, it's totally hard. I'm like, I don't know anything about how to update things.
But yeah.
Just hit a button on my phone. Update.
Yeah. There we go. That's how they do it, right?
Yeah.
On the back end.
Yeah.
Let's talk about selling beer.
Yeah.
That's our topic for the day.
Yeah.
And so there's a couple different things that go into selling beer as even as a home brewer, selling your beer to your friends, and so how to talk to beer about people who aren't in the beer world. And then there's also, I want to say, the commercial side, which you'll know pretty well, where there's a lot more organization that goes into selling beer than people think.
Yeah, it's, a lot of people just think it's walking in and all I'm doing is drinking beer all day long.
Which that'd be great if it was.
I mean, yeah, it would be, but my days wouldn't last very long because unfortunately you got to drive around town to every stop, so you can't drink beers everywhere. Otherwise, you're only working for like 2 hours before you can't be on the road anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially come wintertime when you're getting those big stouts out there.
Do you ever time your last stop of the day to be like, all right, this one I'm probably gonna like actually sit down and?
Yeah, actually, when you started figuring out your route, your region, then you can plan your routes. And like, okay, I'm gonna time it to where I'm here for lunch because I like this cheeseburger. And then you just kind of work it, and then you're like, all right, I'm gonna make sure I'm at this place because I really like this manager, whatever. And we always sit down and have like, you start to learn which places want to taste the samples with you,
Right.
and which ones are like, just go ahead and leave them on the counter and leave a card and get out of there. And like, here you go, okay.
Yeah, and usually the tasters are the ones that are more likely to buy, right? If they're
Yeah,
gonna-
yeah, because I mean, sales is, especially in beer, the beer is going to sell itself. What you got to do is you got to build a relationship with the customer to be able to stand out. You know, like for the Spokane market, especially, there's so many good breweries out there, and there's only so many tap handles to be shared.
Yeah.
So it comes down to whether, you know, A, does your brewery make good beer, and B, are you a personable, you know, are you a likable person that's trying to sell the beer? Because if I'm coming into you and I'm being a jerk to you,
Yeah.
you're not going to buy my beer.
Well, and I feel.
I mean,
Some people might be into that. I don't know.
yeah, I guess.
And I was gonna say, and I feel like a lot of the Spokane sales reps have adopted the mentality of, is you guys aren't trying to kick each other off of the taps. You're trying to kick the big names off the taps.
Yeah, you know, and like, because everywhere you go, most places are gonna have a few handles that they have to dedicate to whatever macro breweries they have to do it to, and then they'll have a handful of locals. And you know, and especially when I was first starting back in 2015, the beer scene was exploding here in Spokane. So it's not like it's probably half of what it is today, but it was still a big market and a very saturated market. But we all kind of worked together and kind of figured out, like, okay, this brewery makes this beer really, really well, so they make it a lot better than I do. So I may not go after that brewery's tap handle, but hey, we make this beer really well, so we're gonna go after that specific handle usually.
Yeah.
You know, especially if we're launching a new beer, then I'm gonna try and find locations that flow with that kind of beer. Like we're talking about Brown's, Orlison's Boulder Garden Brown. When that came out, it was an easy sell for me because one, it was a fantastic beer, and two, you know, not a lot of places made Browns, so
Yeah.
it was a nice little niche for me. But and then the other thing that we all did was, like, we looked out for each other because the macros would come in all the time and try and push us out, like, hey, you know, yeah, they make an IPA, but so do we, and here, and why don't you, if you take our beer, we can provide you with more stuff than they can, kind of stuff. And so us little guys had to stick together, and it was kind of cool because we'd always look out for each other. And like, you know, I know Kyle Yai used to rep out here too, and him and I would actually travel together.
He came from my alma mater. I was a PCB startup guy.
Okay. Yeah,
He did a lot of different ones. He did Paradise Creek for a while. He did 12 Strings for a bit.
Yeah. Did
Yeah.
you do 12 strings before he did Paradise Creek?
I think.
I believe so, yeah.
Paradise Creek?
Yeah, I think he got his start because he's a Spokane guy through and through.
Gotcha, yeah.
And now he works with Dry Fly.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, he wore I was Paradise Creek, but when you're out there, I just hit puberty real quick. When you're out there snagging tap handles and talking about, you talked about trying to help other local breweries get tap handles on that they've got a really good version of it, and you've got a good version, and they'll kind of help you out too. That probably benefits both rather than stealing a tap handle, because then the keg's going to turn over faster, right?
Yeah.
So turnover is a big deal.
Yeah, turnover's huge because, you know, you don't want your beer sitting there for 2 months because then they're never going to buy another keg from you again.
Yeah.
But, and, you know, the other thing is the better the smaller guys do, the better the rest of us small guys are doing.
Yeah.
Because, you know, if we can convince places to start pushing those macros out of their tap handle list, and it opens up more tap handles for us local guys, and we get more to share. We get a bigger piece of the pie.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then Jimmy actually had a great question: is what are you guys' thoughts on doing like a specific beer for, like I'm thinking Bellwether does the Cochinito Amber Lager.
Oh, like an in-house.
Yeah,
Like an in-house beer. You know, those tend to be pretty interesting to do. I always enjoyed doing them because it guaranteed me a tap handle. It guaranteed me keg sales, so I was always trying to promote it. But at the same time, you know, as a sales guy, you got to talk to your brewers and your production staff and see if they're on board for it too. Especially, you know, like we had a few places that we were their designated house beer, and some of them it was just a beer that we made and we sold a ton of, and we just made new tap handles for them and called it what it was. And others, they requested us to make a specific one. And those ones are the ones you really want to talk to your brew staff about.
Yeah.
Because they might not have time to do it, or maybe they don't want to do that style, or they don't like to do that style.
Right.
But
yeah, I know at Paradise Creek they had one that they did for. That's when, because I worked at Paradise Creek when I worked at Birch and Barley at the same time. Where I just left Paradise Creek, and so
okay.
But we did 2 different beers actually for Birch and Barley down there, and so it was a guaranteed one of them was their house like light beer, and one of them was their house IPA.
Okay,
and so
yeah.
that was like the fastest turnover handles too. So
Yeah.
it was a guaranteed 10 kegs per beer per month.
Yeah, and that's they are nice to have because of that exact purpose. And anytime you go in and a restaurant has its own beer, you're probably gonna go with it,
or at least ask about it, right?
Yeah, because you're figuring their menu's probably gonna pair most of their menu's gonna pair really well with that specific beer. So why not at least get some information on it and at least try it?
Yeah.
But yeah, then it was the guaranteed keg sales that were always nice on the back end.
What are your thoughts on speaking of food pairings, doing like beer dinners?
Oh, those were so much fun. Oh, I do miss those.
Yeah.
Especially
if you go
because
run one of those, do you usually get to the? Does the restaurant usually give you some of the food too?
Yeah. So like all the ones I did when I was setting them up, then I'd have to go and have a meeting with the chef and figure out, okay, what are you going to? I'd bring in everything I could, and we'd sit there and I'd sit there with the chef and do samples, and he would talk about, okay,
Nice.
this is what I'm thinking about doing, and then he'd come up with a menu for it, and then usually the day of arrival I would get there and I would get to taste everything, and then I would sometimes I would switch beers around because I'm like, you know what, this is actually going to taste better with this, and move it around a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I love doing the beer pairings with food. It was so much fun, and then yeah, I'm there for work, standing there talking to as each course comes out, talking about the beer that we're giving them and everything. But
Right.
what do you go with?
I went with the double IPA to start off with.
Okay. I was gonna say I brought a breakfast
Yeah, I saw.
street stout.
And then you brought my favorite beer,
Oh.
the Dark Persuasion.
Oh yeah, the darker.
Oh, that's the dark. Oh, I haven't had that one yet.
Yeah. That was gonna be fun.
But yeah, so the I
Son
love.
of a Lisa swearing at you.
Son of a Birch is the name of the Birch and Barley
Okay.
Blondale that we made.
Oh, nice.
I just assumed that she was swearing at you without actually swearing at you.
Son of a birch.
No, it actually. So it tried to. I had to unhide it. It tried to flag it as something that was inappropriate. So I had to let it out there.
Yeah, I just unflag everything that a regular say.
Yeah, I mean for the most part. Yeah. Feel free to cuss in the chat. We'll let it go.
But yeah, no, I mostly asked that because I just did Yaya's beer lunch. They did.
Oh, cool.
That's fun.
Yeah.
And that that one was actually, I felt like a little bit unique because the chef actually used the beer in a lot of the dishes, in
Okay.
several of the dishes.
Yeah, those ones are fun too, because then especially if you're just doing the pairing with it, it makes it really easy. Like, oh, he used my red ale in this sauce, so
Now it's
pair it
gonna-
up with it.
Yeah.
Oh, they use the IPA for the batter for the fried fish. Perfect. We're gonna slide an IPA to go with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. IPA and fish and chips are.
Pretty hand in hand.
That's a good combo. Here's a fun question from Stephen Sotomayor. First of all, thanks for the super chat. Open up the BJCP app and tell you which styles we can't do with Heidi and a bunch of acid malt. That is a great question, and I would love to take that challenge as an actual challenge.
Do you want me to do just randomly? Do you want him to randomly choose one?
Sure. Yeah.
I have the app on my phone. So.
Off the top of my head, there's a handful of styles that I think would be very, very difficult to do.
Can't do with. Oh, okay.
But my other question would be, what other tools can I use? Can I use an oven? Do I have to just brew it with my normal brewing equipment?
What I'm thinking, it's like as a home brewer, what would you?
I don't think there's a style I can't do.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting. Do I have access to enzymes? That's the other question. If not, I could do a mash rest. But yeah, that's it. That's a really interesting question.
And beer style, not the mead styles that are hidden at the bottom. I saw you hovering over those for a moment.
Well, there's mead on here, and there's
Ciders.
ciders.
What else we got? Go ahead and try to do one of these, huh? Sure. Just looking at the categories, I'll just. start with this category. How about this? Anything in the strong Belgian ales?
Strong Belgian ales.
So your Belgian blonde, your saison, or your Belgian golden strong.
So those would be very difficult because of the simple sugar additions. But if I could do an acid rest and do a mash, like a really, really low mash tempo, if I could do a mash ramp, I can draw out very simple sugars from just the malt. And I think what I would do is then cook that sugar solution down with some acid malt, invert those sugars, and use it as an addition back in the boil. Other than that, I mean, Heidi and that's how I would kind of make an invert sugar. Then the Heidi and acid malt would go great just for the regular mash.
And he's just saying he just limited you on malty. Any other processes and techniques? And
then we're good. Like if I can take Heidi and throw it in the oven, like I can make all my roast malts. Like I don't think there's a style I can't make.
Yep. And then Reverend actually asked.
It'd be fun to try though. That'd be a really fun whole video. Just be like, all right, if I only have these 2 malts, how do I make a porter or something like that?
Yeah. Well, I hear another video on the docket of.
That's actually an exciting challenge. That'd be really fun to do.
I will add it to the list that we can convince them.
Because everyone's like, oh, you've got to have caramel malts in this. Like everyone tells me you've got to have caramel malts. I'm like, no, you don't.
You don't have to do anything if you don't want to.
But getting back about just after Jimmy comment about the having house beer, Reverend said that is a white label project depending on your storage or ability to keep up with demand. Is it worth it? Is it worth the discount or promotion?
Discount, no. Promotion, yes.
I was gonna say I never gave a discount on anything. Our beers were priced the way the beers were priced because it just comes down to cost and labor and time and everything that goes into it. So. Each brewery has its own different overhead, so that's why you'll see some variances in the keg prices, and you have to keep that. You have to keep those bills paid to keep the lights on, to keep making beer for people. So there was never really a discount on it, but the promotion was definitely worth it.
Oh yeah, well, and
you're offering value too. I mean, because you're helping promote their brand by having them have a house beer.
Yeah, and a lot of times you also I know Bellwether again, because that's the one I know really well here in Spokane, they also keep that beer on tap at the brewery so that when people ask, they can be like, oh yeah, it's the house beer of this restaurant. You guys can head down there, which is probably the best tacos in Spokane. Cochinito's is it's also $7 in, pre-pandemic, I haven't been sent back since pandemic, but it's $7, 2 tacos a side, and 5 minutes it was out in front of you.
It's not a bad idea for smaller breweries specifically, because that also, if you have a house beer for a well-known food brand in the area, that adds value to your own brand. It adds credibility to.
Yeah, I was gonna say it adds credibility, and in this industry, reputation is everything. Mm-hmm. That's why you guys put in all the work to make sure the beer is good before it even has a sniff of fresh air outside the brewery. Yeah, because. One bad batch can absolutely destroy an entire brewery. So yeah, reputation is everything, and
not
providing a solid, constant beer for a restaurant every time. Other restaurants are going to take notice. You're going to start getting phone calls about, hey, we noticed you guys do this for these guys. Can we talk about it? Maybe doing it with us.
Yeah. And I was going to say, and not just the one bad beer destroys your reputation. One bad beer can turn someone off of craft beer. That's the thing is. If someone goes in and gets like a brand new craft beer drinker goes in and has a bad beer, it's going to be a long time before they go back and have another beer. Mm-hmm.
They need to get better friends.
Yeah, there's a handful of breweries that kind of suffered that, I think, for the first 2 years of their life, just because they started out without getting their feet fully under them. They made some bad beers because they didn't understand the system, which is totally understandable. New systems are hard to learn, but. Yeah, once they do that, then people go there I really couldn't drink anything, and it takes a long time to
bring people back. Yeah,
unless you got a really, really, awesome area to hang out in.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, I'll give mostly because I love these guys and they know I love them. Black Label, there was a period of time where their beers absolutely were garbage. Well, and it came down to is they thought they bought the fermentation tanks that were fully welded on instead of the screw-on.
Well, they also had a scorching issue early on too, because they didn't understand the heat sink that they made with their direct fire burner, and they masoned around it to fit their HVAC requirements, which was kind of stupid for the fire department to make them do that. But also that made it so they had a huge hot spot right under their kettle. Yeah, and so they had a lot of scorching issues too early on.
Yeah, but they've turned it around. Their beers are
fantastic.
And their environment's dope. That's one of my favorite places to go.
You just go hang out in the back of the Saranac building.
Yeah, and they're right next to the comic shop, and so you can go like you can check out a game for free from the comic book store. Like obviously they want you to buy something eventually, but like you can just go and ask for a game to go play at Black Label.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
I was done, like, I go and I do my shopping at the comic book shop, and then I'll walk. I'm like, well, while I'm here, I might as well have a beer.
Right. And also now they have pizza.
Yeah, they got pizza. It's a dope place to hang out, and the beers are really good too.
Yep. I was gonna say, and hopefully I'll get them on at some point in time. I have a list of people to get on.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
I keep Sundays. I would always end up at Community Pint, and me and Marcus would end up talking about the live stream. And eventually, I was like, I just need to bring you on because we keep talking about. Me and Tim kept talking about Genus sales, like someone that knows sales on.
Yeah.
Because that's the other thing is, I know you guys are all like homebrewers and stuff and want to get into production, but starting off as getting in as a sales rep to a local brewery is a great way to get into the beer industry.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I knew I drank beer and I knew I liked beer when I got hired by the brewery. Other than that, I didn't really know much about it. And now, you know, like a lot of my friends, I'm their go-to turn when they got questions about it, which I think is really cool because, you know, especially if you have a passion for beer.
Yeah.
Getting in as a sales rep or even just as a taproom employee is your best bet to get in. And then you could start, you know, talking with the brewers and picking their brains and, you know, really getting to do into the research. And most, you know, especially most smaller breweries, they're going to be pretty rad, especially if you're a good home brewer. They're going to let you play around on the pilot system every once in a while.
Yeah.
You know, mostly because the brewer wants a break.
And also, you know, most brewers aren't just like, no, it's my way and only my way. You know, they're open to suggestions. They're open to trying new things. And so, you know, if you start out in the tap room and you come to them like, hey, I made this beer at home, and they try and like, hey, that's actually really good. You know, let's talk about it. Let's maybe work on this and let's make a batch of it and put it in the tap room and see how it goes.
Yeah.
You know, I got to do that a couple times, and man, that was just so much fun to be able to do. Like, and you never know when, you know, brewer's assistant's gonna call out sick on a brew day.
Yeah.
And you get called up, and you're gonna learn real quick on how to make beer.
Or
on a very large system.
Yeah. Or you get into that situation where it's like, hey, I know I'm not gonna have a position opening, but so-and-so down the road is looking for an assistant brewer. You've helped me out some. Yeah, I'm going to lose you, but hey, I want you to grow because that's the big thing. Like, I know that Lumberbeard, which is the beer that we're drinking, the cellarman from River City went to be the assistant brewer at Lumberbeard, and there was no hard feelings. Like, those guys all still talk.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
They're still all great friends and stuff, but it was like, hey, this is a better opportunity for you, and that's what a lot of the small breweries do. And you were commenting about like the sales rep being friends with each other.
Yeah.
Mostly because you guys also see each other at beer festivals all the time.
I was gonna say, yeah. We spend a lot of time together.
Makes the after parties way more fun.
Oh man, the stories we get into. But yeah, and you know that's the other thing is, you know, most people that are getting into the beer industry they're doing it because they enjoy beer. You know, they're not and they have a passion for it. And when they, you know, as an employer, if you see that passion in somebody, you don't want to hold them back from that passion. Because, you know, if you think about it, you're like, well, if somebody had done that to me, I wouldn't be where I am today. So, you know, like you said, when they transferred from River City over to Lumberbeard, they were happy for him. They were super excited and stoked for him to be able to have that opportunity to continue to grow in the industry. And, you know, you never know. He may end up coming back around, you know, if your head brewer that he learned
else moves on, and
someone else will. He may come back around in another position, or you know, make a unilateral move and come back as an assistant brewer after learning things, which would be great because then
he's got more experience.
You know, and he learned from another brewer, so then he can come over to this one and they can pick brains and work and you know.
Yeah.
Well, I think the example is Iron Goat's 3 of their brewers are now head brewers at different locations.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Adam, Rachel, and Scotland.
Yeah.
And given the fact that Rachel was a head brewer before she went and worked for Iron Goat, there is change of ownership that she just decided that it was time for her to look for other opportunities, and now she's a head brewer over at TT's.
Yep.
Making awesome beer.
Yeah.
And also, you guys go find the Will It Brew episode with Rachel and boost it, because the more I can convince you guys to boost any of the Will It Brew videos, the more likely Peter's going to say yes eventually.
They take so long to produce and edit, and they get, I think our number one Will It Brew is like barely over 10,000 views, which, I mean, that's not bad, but considering how many hours of labor we put into them, it definitely isn't. I mean, I could probably not put, you know, $400 worth of lobsters into beer. That might help bring the cost down. But
And you guys kept putting $400 of lobsters into beers.
that was the start of a revolution. Putting lobsters into beer is not one of my favorite things to do.
It's yeah.
Oh, I see my wheel started turning as a sales rep. I'm like, oh yeah, just bam, house beer at high tide.
Yeah, exactly. I bet you a lobster cerveza or something like that would be pretty good. Lobster light, some light lobster beer.
I was gonna say you guys haven't done a light lobster beer yet.
We haven't.
Well,
Well,
I
We did. Well, I think we did it. We did a wheat. No, Damon did a wheat. That wasn't bad. And all of ours were like Gruit's, like Braggot kind of things.
Yep.
But I think the beer that I made with Octopus, that one would have been a great lobster beer.
Had to use lobster instead of octopus.
Yeah. Just switch out the ingredients. Boom, good to go.
Okay, please tell me, are you guys doing seafood beers as the next Valley Cup?
I will not disclose that. I will not disclose that.
Because I know there's some mixed feelings about that, but I'm totally down for it.
Yeah, I mean,
you want to start a revolution, package it in a cup or a festival setting, and people
oh yeah,
will take it.
I was gonna say there's a reason Mountain Lakes does super well at festivals.
I don't know why we didn't do a lobster beer for a beer fest. Inland Northwest, we got to do it for Inland Northwest. That's
Yeah.
Oh yeah, at Vista, yeah.
That'll put our name on the map.
I was gonna say, or actually do it for that and Among the Pines. They're both about the same time.
Oh yeah, double lobster beer duty. Now we got to come up. Okay, brain's going off the rails. In general, I think it's a good idea to support all people that you work with and let them grow professionally. Regardless, we've got some people that have done that here at Genus, and like it's all. If you're the kind of employee/employer group of people that thinks that you have rights to any one employee and that they should stay with you, even though you don't support them wanting to grow and be better at whatever they want to do, then that just means you're a bad place to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're not going to last very long in this industry.
Yeah, for sure. This is a very friendly industry. Like I love the fact that the sales reps are all. Even if you do try to steal some beer handles, which I think is totally fine. I think.
Yeah, I mean that's
how
the
the competition is the thing.
Yeah, right? that's the nature of the job. You got to go after a few of them, but but there's two ways to go about it. There's their beer is really good, but I have this one for you to try as well. So when that one goes, maybe give this one a shot. Right? Yeah, give me this one a shot. And then there's the other side of which these folks tend to not last super long, but they'll go in and just start talking trash on other breweries' beers. Like, oh, that beer is such a piece of crap. It's garbage. I can't even believe you guys sell that. You guys need to bring mine on. I guarantee, Yeah. And then they start throwing guarantees out there. I guarantee it's going to sell better than that wastewater. And it's like,
that's not going to work.
Yeah, you're not going to, because if you do that and I follow in and the bartender's like, man, that person from XYZ is really talking crap about your beer. Like, oh, really? Yeah. What beer did they bring? And I'll sit there and then we'll just have a personal, like, they thought this one was better than ours? Okay.
Yeah.
Kind of like the bar managers and stuff, restaurant managers will recognize it a lot of times. So that's why usually when you see a sales rep, whether it's at a festival or at a tasting event or even in the tap room, the smiles that are on our face aren't fake. Yeah. It's just who we are. We're generally happy, like fun people to be around for the most part. That's what makes us good at sales.
I was going to say, my favorite people to hang out, like, when I'm out and about are actually, like, I enjoy hanging out and talking to all the brewers, but I really enjoy drinking with the sales reps. Like, the amount of beer fests I've gone to get food after with a sales rep is, amazing. And you think brewers can drink? Sales reps really can drink.
It's literally our job.
It's always a party.
Yeah.
And again, it's because they are happy, very happy people. And usually it's like, oh my God, I can't believe you guys brought that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I can't believe you were brave enough to bring that to a beer fest.
Or you should get pulled off the side like, are you guys really doing a lobster beer? No way. All right.
Can I try it?
Yeah, let me know when it's done because I want to come try it.
Yeah, that's the way to go.
Yeah, it's I was gonna say, again, sales reps are some of the nicest people. Like, I can name two of the current sales reps in Spokane that still are sales rep. Well, one that's still a sales rep, Ante.
Oh, yeah.
And then Kevin Green has been a sales rep for years, and everyone loves him.
Yeah, he's selling malt now.
Yeah, he's been everywhere. He's he's got works for he sold me that malt.
Proximity.
Yeah.
You can't see it, but he sold the Proximity malt.
SBS Foods, something like that. I forget what the company is.
All I know is me and Kevin are gonna become very good friends once I start brewing.
Yeah.
And then the link, and again, like all the link malt sales guys are awesome. Like some of the friendliest guys on the market.
I think just anything associated with like Link and that whole group, they're just like the humblest, nicest people. That, like they're I don't know. There's not a bad bone in their body.
Yeah, and that, you know, it's when you get into companies like, you start finding companies like that, they're going to hire employees that are like that, and you know, because it's their again, it comes back to a reputation of a company.
Yeah.
You know, your sales rep is your face of your company.
Yeah.
You know, it's the face of the brewery, the face of the malter. So you need, you know, you want those people to be smiling and upbeat and happy people, and you know, like you said with Link, everybody there is just good, solid people because you tend to attract your own tribe.
Yeah. Well, and they have a mission, and they really believe in their mission too. Their mission is to be sustainable, local, organic, like maybe not organic, but sustainable, local, all the things. But like they believe it with a purpose. Like what they're doing is not just creating quality everything, but it's also it's creating quality everything with a purpose. And it's not doing that to shit on anybody else or say anybody else is doing anything bad or wrong. It's doing it because if they occupy more of that space, then they think the world's gonna be a better place. So if they just do a good job of what they do, then they're gonna make the world a better place. And they say that from my experience, I've said that in the humblest way, which is that they're not trying to attack or go against anybody, kind of like we talked about.
Yeah.
They're just like, hey, if we occupy this space, then we're doing good for the world. We believe in what we're doing.
Yeah.
So.
And then I'm just going to real quickly say, because it's just popped in my head, also become friends with your sales reps, because when there's a beer festival happening, if you're good friends with the sales rep and you have your mask, like there is a decent chance. Like I've poured for Orlson when you were busy for something.
I had because sometimes you just, especially in the summertime, you get 3-4 festivals going on around the state at the same time, and I can only be in one spot.
Yeah, so they sent me with their taproom manager down to the Palouse Cabin. This is the Palouse Cabin Beer Fest.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and stuff.
That was fun.
That's a little bit of a shit show when you're on the brewing side, because they just keep drinking the beer once it's done. But like you'll there's a chance that they're like, hey, we're this big beer fest, like come with me, like so that way I can take a break and wander around and grab some beers, or go sit or grab a quick bite to eat or something, because
because you know those festivals can get grueling. You know, you're on your feet, you're there a couple hours before the gates open.
NBC. I'd be around you folks. Reverend KY, Dungeness is greater than Lobster. I think Dungeness would be even more expensive than Lobster. If we made a Dungeness crab beer with the amount of Dungeness crab we'd have to put in there. I think
that is a carbonated beer.
You'd have to put the shop up.
Yeah.
You could take out a mortgage on the shop.
Yeah. Yeah, even just like a 2-barrel, that'd probably be like $4,000 worth of crab at minimum.
Yeah, good.
But let's do it, yeah. If you guys donate enough money, we will make a Dungeness crab beer.
You can only imagine trying to sell that keg to somebody. Like, yeah, 1 keg of beer, and it's $1,800.
The right people.
Oh, I mean, there's a market for everything, and it'll absolutely go.
And I was gonna say, I specifically chose this beer for the NBC.
It's very small NBC. What we're doing it.
Mandatory beer chug.
Oh. Yeah, you didn't prep me for nothing, did you? All right, well, here you go. Cheers.
What up?
Josh just showed up for all you.
Number 5 super chat train. Yeah, if the super chat gets us enough to buy that many Dungeness crabs, then we're definitely doing it tomorrow. There was a really good question up here that I wanted to answer, but no. Brett and Leo. When checking the pH of the mash with a recipe where I start the mash hot, how much time do we have to correct the pH? And then I think there's a follow-up question. Is it good to start at a lower temperature to have time to correct the pH? Yes. First of all, don't start the mash hot and don't degrade your enzymes. I would start lower just regardless. But you have probably, I think I've read studies that say as low as 6 minutes before things start denaturing. And I would go like less than 10. Step inside of Let's get to Peter's Knoxville travel money, everyone. Hell yeah.
Hey, I was gonna say Peter's going to Knoxville is gonna drag me along.
Hell yeah. I'll do it. Sure.
Like that's. Also, I just kind of want to meet
everybody.
Homebrew for Life because like I've like popped in his videos enough to say hi.
Well, if we go to Knoxville, there's also the Asheville like really really close, and so see what you're saying. If we go to Knoxville, then there's also like a short travel up there, and we can maybe meet with the Clawhammer dudes.
Yeah, I would absolutely love to meet those guys. As I've just my day job, I legitimately just put beer videos on. So I've watched a lot of your guys' beer videos. Those who do internet stuff. Party Time Brewing, I need to watch your stuff. You're on my list.
Party Times are very entertaining to watch. I like watching his stuff. Also, if anyone can find a wedding for us to shoot in that area, then we'll just pay for our own travel and shoot the wedding with that money that we would make from shooting the wedding.
And I would just come along to be the drinker, the AK drinker.
You can be the sound guy.
Hey, I'm okay with that. Like I've gotten way better at sound.
Yeah. So
sound or holding light panels.
Exactly. Yeah, you just got the walking around with the boom mic.
Yeah, I was gonna say, mostly because I'm trying to eventually be able to quit my my current day job.
NBC or MCC, dealer's choice.
Oh, what are you guys getting me into now?
I don't know what's MCC.
I'm guessing Cider Chug.
Oh.
He owns a cidery, or he doesn't own a cidery. He is the head. He was a brewer at a brewery at Whidbey Island, and now he's a brewery at a brewer at a cidery.
Yeah, okay. A cider maker. Where I don't know what you call. We'll ask Trent in a couple weeks.
I will eat that responsibility.
Yep.
I'm not feel comfortable getting other people drunk for no reason.
Also, Reverend KY, are you going to? I know you were thinking about it. Are you actually going to go to the Washington Brewers Fest so I can actually meet you? No, there's two of our regulars in the live stream are showing up to the beer fest.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. And you make some.
How much cider are you bringing, Matt?
Yeah, absolutely. Also, Daniel, if you watch this video or if you're in the chat, how much beer are you bringing me? Because like I am legitimately taking a cooler stuffed full of ice packs than the fridge at the hotel I'm staying at. That's the other reason I'm staying at hotels to just have a fridge for beer. I'm actually gonna talk to one of the breweries there and say, hey, can I just stash these ice packs at your brewery so I could take beer back to a brewery? Like one of the brewers and owners, like me and him, when he was over here, got chatting and became semi-friendly.
There you go.
Semi-friendly.
Yeah.
They went to a motel that rented by the hour.
Hey, Reverend Adam's willing to buy you. Oh, sweet. Okay, cool. Yeah. I was like, I got gas money for Reverend to come over. And
boom, gonna happen.
And
gonna make it happen.
3 beers, awesome. Yeah, and we'll.
Now you wish you were going, right?
Right. Yeah. That's this coming weekend, though, right?
No, it's 2 weeks.
2 weekends.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
You're like maybe.
I might have to make it happen. I thought it was this coming weekend. I was like, oh no, I'm already. Oh
I
no,
could probably
it's
call
always
it-
Father's Day weekend. That's right.
It's Father's Day.
That's right.
So. I was gonna say the Redmond Inn is completely booked out.
Oh yeah, no, I remember trying to find one.
No, but actually, the other there's
the years I went over, it was
there's the other Redmond hotel that was like still had like 4 or 5 rooms yesterday when I booked.
It might just be one of those like roll a sleeping bag in the back of the Jeep and just
Yeah, there we go.
just parking lot camping.
I want a Class B motorhome. But, I mean, a Class B, you can just drive it anywhere. Like, that's your sleeping area. The only downside right now is that they're going to get, like, 12 miles to the gallon.
I was going to say fuel is so...
Right now, gas is, like, $1 billion per minute.
I don't know. Peter,
what's
did we
more
get a
expensive,
Chumley
gas or
package?
crab?
Huh?
Have we gotten the Chumley package yet?
Yes, one of the cans leaked in transit, though. So one of the cans is deflated. But the rest of them look good.
Wait, did you toss that can or is it still in there?
Still in there.
Let's crack that open here in a bit.
I mean, it's probably super oxidized, but we can do it.
I figured live stream, let's just get it done.
Yeah, why not?
After the pastry stout.
But yes, we did get your package, and thank you very much.
By the way,
Adam makes really
quick
good beer.
question. Why did you choose Lumberbeard as 3 of the 4 beers that you brought?
Honest answer?
Yeah.
That's what was in my fridge.
Hey, that's
Solid.
good. Yeah. And again, Lumberbeard is a great, solid brewery. Like, they opened right before the pandemic started.
Yeah, I think they maybe had about a year.
Yeah, they were pretty close, though. Like, it felt pretty close. Like,
Yeah, because I had just gotten out of Orleson had just closed up, so I had just gotten out of the industry. And when they moved in and I saw their label, I was like, well, I might need to go talk to these guys. But I had started going to school for something else, and I actually thought I was done with the industry. And then the pandemic happened and my schooling closed, and I found myself looking for work and just kept getting offers from my other breweries to come hang out with them. And I was like, if you're going to pay me to just hang out and talk to people, like, absolutely, I'll do that all day long.
So that's actually going to lead into a good question that I have is how, because you can tell when you got someone that knows what they're knows what they're drinking. Mm-hmm. You got the homebrewer that thinks they know what they're drinking, and then you got the person that has no clue what they're drinking. How do you sell like certain beers, or how do you find the beer that's going to be the best fit for them?
Well, I always start off with a couple questions. Usually it's like I usually just ask them, hey, what is your go-to when you're not out around? Like what's your grocery store buy? And then because that'll usually typically give me at least a style to start focusing on, whether it be an IPA or they only stouts, or I can start going in there. And then you start getting into, especially because we're just gonna stick with the IPAs because it's the most popular thing for everybody right now. Then you start asking little deeper questions. Do you like it more piney, resiny, and dank, or do you like it more citrusy, floral, and aromatic? And as soon as you ask those two questions, you can pretty much gauge on where their beer knowledge is. Because if you say piney, resiny, dank, and they make this face like, that doesn't sound good at all. Yeah. They're probably not that knowledgeable. So then you just start breaking them down to simpler terms. Like, okay, do you, because you can ask, like, do you want a West Coast or a New England? And people are kind of cock their head like, okay. Then you usually start breaking down to flavor profiles. And then if you have to get down even further, like, all right, do you want to be able to see through it or not see through it? And sometimes you just got to get it down to that level. You just got to start talking to the person and figure out, where their knowledge is at. And, like you said, with a lot of people, myself included, I'll catch myself every once in a while, get talking.
Even though Tim just showed up, he's not going to get on the live stream. He can stand in the background. I'm too comfortable here now.
Yeah, we got like 2 minutes.
Yeah, it's just a matter of, talking to them and figuring out where their knowledge is, and then just you're bringing up, like, thankfully, because I've been in the industry long enough and I've been behind the bar and worked with as many brewers as I have a very large knowledge of the industry and of the beers and styles and stuff. So it's a little easier for me, but I mean, I guess to get back to your question, find out where their knowledge base is on it, and then you can hold your conversations to that level. Like, you can have this super technical conversation with the brewers and the home brewers, but it just, Joe Schmo off the street, you might want to dumb it down just a little bit.
Or the home and if you're a home brewer, Uncle Jimmy, who has no clue what the beers are.
Yeah.
And the reason I asked that is because I still remember my first. I grew up with having some Moose Drool and Alaskan Amber in the house, which are both good craft beers. Yeah. But like what I consider my first, like, oh god, this is real craft beer, was in Bellingham, and after my 21st, and at that point in time, college student, I was drinking Rainier, PBR, and my friends that were a couple years older than me dragged me to Boundary Bay. Oh. And the guy sat there and spent a good, like, 4 or 5 minutes asking me questions about flavors, like what flavors did I eat, what flavors did I like. Yep. And then to this day, it's still one of my perfect beers. Like, I've had the beer since, but it was the experience of the time, the Boundary Bay Oatmeal Stout, and so that's why I asked that question.
Yeah, and honestly, like, for me, like I said, I like being behind the bar. I like talking to people. So if you come in and you're not really sure, talk to your bartender, talk to your rep, whoever it is that's back there, whoever you're getting your beer from, because 9 out of 10 times they're going to enjoy having that conversation with you.
And especially if they're not busy. Like, if you go in and
if I'm slammed and you want to talk to me about what the OG and FGs were on this beer, I'm probably going to give you a look like, dude, come on, really now? Like, I'm trying to move through a line. I will come back to you for a conversation when I slow down, but that's,
Well, and I was going to say, I'm like, given the fact that I'm going to be brewing for a new brewery, and the guys enjoy beer, they're going to be bartending. They don't necessarily know beer.
Yeah.
So I'm making a little index card of,
perfect. And just
here's the basic flavor profiles.
Take them and sit them down with each beer and just talk to them about it.
Yeah, that's exactly as like,
knowledge is power, and that's the the other thing is, if you don't know something, just admit it.
Yeah.
And then try.
Hey, I don't know, but I will look into that for you. Yeah. I say that all the time.
Or I don't know, and I don't care to look into it for you. I don't know. If you want to find out, here's a good resource.
Yeah, that's because I usually if I get stumped on a question, I'm like, well, that doesn't happen very often. Now I got to figure out what it is.
If my level of Googling is going to be equal to your level of Googling, I'm probably just going to tell you to do it.
Yeah, fair enough.
If I'm being honest.
Fair enough, yeah.
But if I've got some secret, it's like if it's like I've got a guy that I can call that like I know that guy and that's why that's why I'm your resource for learning something, then I'll 100% do it and like get back to you.
Usually if it's like I'll check into that. It's like
with the brewer or something.
with the brewer or the specific brewery, kind of thing. But if it's just a Google, I'm like I'll say it all the time, like I don't know, GTS.
Well, I was gonna say I'm gonna bring this up. Last night at the Ales for ALS event, my buddy who he drinks beer, he enjoys beer, he knows but he's not, and he knows a lot more about the process because he's friends with me and he hears me talk to brewers on a regular basis on stuff. But he asked what is like. He got Bellwether's Brut IPA. Okay. He did not get a good explanation from the person that was pouring it, in his opinion. I gave him the very cheaty answer, which was just champagne yeast, which I know is not the proper answer.
Nope.
But then I sat there and I was like, hey, I'm friends with Randy. Let me grab Randy and bring Randy over to talk about what makes a Brut IPA. Like, because I admit, I was like, here's the super cheaty, quick, dirty answer that's not 100% correct, but is the base of, like, this is where the style started. And then I was like, let me grab the expert that actually made the beer, first off.
Yeah.
And that can really talk to, and my buddy left there like going, oh, yeah, no, I actually now understand, like, when I order a Brut IPA anywhere, I have an understanding of what that style is now.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that one came out first. I was like, what in the...
I think we were the first people in Spokane to make a video on
it. You're the first people in Spokane to make videos on anything.
Well, okay, there's that too. I think the first people in Spokane to brew it, and I think we were one of the first people out there to make a video on it.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, I know Bellwether's been doing Brut IPAs for a while.
I just remember, like, it came out and I was like, what is...
I want something new? What the fuck?
Hang on. What am I getting myself into?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, thanks. It's good to have friends.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I was going to say, David commented, I always find conversations intimidating. I don't know a lot about beer, and the industry seems to be moving fast. That's the thing, is if you go into, like, I learned 90% of my stuff, honestly, it used to be Wednesdays when he finished his sales rep route, he would come into Oralson, me, him, and the bar manager would just sit there and drink beer and talk beer.
Yep.
Like, we would do that
around
for
people that know, yeah, it's easy.
We would do that, and they would close up around me. Like, I have closed out more breweries with and without Marcus than I care to admit. Like, given the fact I've closed out Community Pint with him.
Yeah.
And if you're talking about going into a conversation with like a rep or a beer tender that you don't necessarily think you're going to be willing to or trying or able to hold the conversation, I think on average, I think there's a good rule of thumb for pretty much everything, but just go into the conversation more humble. Like, even if you might know, like, there's a chance you might know more than the person. Go into the conversation humble, like, hey, I'm not sure about this, but, can we talk about whatever you're looking for in the conversation? Go into the conversation more humble, and then if you end up knowing more, never switch the script. Just be like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I also heard from, offload yourself from the burden of responsibility that it is being the beer expert. And I use this all the time. Like, even if I'm out talking about beer with the beer tender, and I know a lot about beer.
You do?
But a little bit. But I never try to flip the script and be the expert, unless there's a reason for me to be.
Adam, I might be making that for Genus's little. By the way, if I'm going to just be honest, at the beer fest, there's two people you're going to talk to about, like, the beer stuff there. It's going to be me and Warren.
Yeah.
I love Jess and Sky. If you want to talk process, you're going to talk to me and Warren. That's going to be more of the people you talk to.
Yeah, I mean, Sky's learned a lot, actually.
Sky has good knowledge, and she's awesome. But it's like me and Warren both homebrew.
Have done the practical part of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And back on that topic real fast though. Like, even if you find the conversations to be intimidating, start small.
Yeah.
Just ask, hey, like, I get people all the time, like, at Community Pint, because we rotate through so many beers from so many fantastic breweries. A lot of the conversations start off with, hey, where's that brewery from? Yeah. And then you can just start there. And then, you've initiated a conversation with your beer tender. And then, oh, hey, you're interested in that beer. As a professional beer tender, I'm going to go, hey, if you're interested in that, hey, this brewery's from here. They do an awesome job with this, and this. I see you're keeping your eye on this one. If I have another one from them, like try this one from them as well. Or hey, maybe if that's what caught your eye, then there's your style. That will even give your beer tender in the back of their mind. They're gonna go, okay, this is the beer he's focusing on or she's focusing on. Let's kind of focus on this style, and we're gonna walk you through things. Start small, and like I said earlier, knowledge is power. It can start from the simplest things of where is that brewery from to. One of my favorite questions is that I always get asked. You do it to me all the time when you come in. You're like, "What's your favorite on tap right now?"
Yeah. Well, and
it's an easy simple starter because I'm like, "Oh, I like this one because of this. I like this one because of this. I like this one because of this."
And
then I turn around and go, "Which one are you into out of those?"
Yeah.
And
then you're in the position of learning first before giving any knowledge of your own or whatever. Like you're trying to get into a good conversation, like starting from a place of what's your favorite, then you get kind of a gauge of like what your favorite is, and you're gonna say why, because
but only do that when they're slow. That's the key. Do not like it's like it's or I've also done this of just pour me whatever you feel like I'm going to enjoy right now, like because I drink about everything.
I was gonna say it works when you have that relationship with your beer tender, but like if you're coming in off the street for your first time into my bar, and you say, pour me whatever you think I'm going to enjoy, I'm going to look at you going, I have no clue who you are.
And here's a lobster beer.
Yeah.
Which I enjoy. Like, I honestly, the lobster beers, I put a huge dent in those here.
I have a feeling I would probably actually like it.
Yeah. But the other thing is like if you go into a brewery, so we all know I'm a coffee beer guy. We all know that's my preferred. I honestly half the time go into a brewery, and I just did this in Yakima. And the guys like sat there and like this is where the guy's mind clicked up, like, oh, he knows beers. Like I had their coffee sounds like, oh, how'd you guys add the coffee? Yeah. And immediately his gear switched from, oh, he's just some beer drinker coming in, to I ordered a single pint of beer and I ended up tasting almost every beer at the brewery because the bartender kept going. And he's like, hey, can you try this? Can you let's talk about this? Because he realized, because again, it wasn't a like I'm trying to establish my knowledge. It was a, hey, I asked a genuine question that immediately was like, oh,
you're interested in,
I'm interested in particularly this topic that I'm very, very versed on because I've brewed 8 or 9 coffee beers.
It's a great way to create a relationship. It just really is.
Yeah. And like if you go in and say, hey, what hops? Like if you ask what hops are in the IPA, that immediately clues them in and they're like, oh, you have some knowledge. You like without being like, oh, you're not using these hops, like that I am mighty toity. And that's the thing is when Pierre said be humble, I've seen homebrewers come in and be like, I know everything, kind of peacock feathers out, and it's like, no, you really don't.
You really don't. Also, the one thing that I will say to never ask, and this is like a pet peeve of mine, is IBUs. Just don't ask it.
They've gone by the wayside so far that I tell people that. So I'm like, that's a
outdated style.
Yeah, you're beating a dead horse with that one.
Well, I already told my brewery that like we're not putting IBUs, I'm not even going to decide, like, we're going to do, I told them I want to do bitterness levels. Yeah. And, like, low, medium, high.
Okay.
That could be from roast malts, that could be from hops, that could be from if you have a, urban there that has some bitter quality to it, or whatever.
Yeah, well, and again, I think that's...
How does it taste? How does it perceive to the person who's drinking it, right?
Yeah, and Fort George was the first one to start doing the low, medium, high. That's all they do. Yeah. And I'm going to just sit there, and the two owners, they're going to sit and taste the beer, and I'm going to say, do you feel the bitterness is low, medium, or high?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not telling you how many IBUs are in it.
Yeah.
Okay, there's one beer I'm going to say what the IBUs are, but that's also because it's my gimmicky beer. I'm aiming for 45 IBUs. Thank you, Jimmy, for that idea. So it's the 45 because there were 45 degrees brew house. So
yeah, there you go.
45 SRM. It's gonna be blackest night.
Yeah, no, actually, I'm actually thinking about doing an English porter. I was gonna say English porter or English brown.
Oh, you have to go way darker for 45 SRM.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
That's like
stout.
Yeah, exactly. That's stout. There's probably you could convert it to EB. What's the one that's
Jeff was telling me about that one, so I'm going to convert it to that one, which is
yeah. There's a way to do it. 45 everything. All right, I think we are getting close to wrapping everything up.
Any questions?
I think there was one more. So I saw something about where to go. Dealer's choice. Jimmy J.
Yep, Jim. Who's a local guy?
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, when you know the person, dealer's choice. That's easy because you know them. So like, all right, I know you order the same thing every time, but you want to try something different. I'm gonna find you something exactly next to it. I do it a lot when I travel and I go to breweries. I walk in and, because I don't have a set style that I have to have, especially if I'm trying a new brewery. I want to try as much of their beers as I can.
Yeah.
Try and do a wide variety. And so then I'll say I will do dealer's choice. And I don't even know the person because I'm in a random town. But again, if it's slammed in there, I will pick one beer and just say, hey, this is what I want to try. If it's, empty and I get a moment to talk with the beer tender, then I'm like, hey, just pour me your favorites. I've never been here. I've never even, I just got back from Minneapolis. I went to a couple new breweries and was like, hey, I've never been here. I've never heard of you guys because I'm from Washington State. Like, I want to check your guys' beers out. What do you think I need to try from you guys?
And 9 times out of 10, it's going to be something like, an IPA or maybe a good Pilsner if they've got a house favorite there.
Yeah.
Unless there's very few times that it's going to be like something that's not one of their high sellers if they don't know you.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be a good seller that's kind of crowd tested.
Yeah, I would say expect to get flagship stuff, and then but if you're local and you do start knowing them and you come like Matt does with me all the time, he comes in like, just what do you think I need to have today?
And usually it's whatever the
and,
newest thing on is like that's what I've noticed is
or if it's something that it just absolutely blew my mind. I'm like, I know you don't usually drink this style of beer, but this blew my mind, so try it.
Yeah.
And that's also another good way to get out of your comfort zone and try new stuff too.
Yeah. And that's I'm a strong believer in there's a gateway beer to every style of beer. Like, because I used to hate brown ales. Like, with a passion, I used to hate brown ales.
I love them.
Well, and it's because, again, there was a period of time where it was not, and then I found a really good brown, and again, I started off drinking stouts. I hated IPAs for a long time. Also, I also started drinking IPAs during what was called the Hop Wars, where everyone was trying to.
I call them the hops race.
Yeah, but the same.
It was like an arms race, but with hops.
That everyone was like, 210 IBUs, and I was like, you can't taste it. Why are you doing this? Why is it all
Green Flash came out with Palette Wrecker.
Yeah.
We added hops everywhere.
And then I had Iron Goat's Gin Barrel Aged Headbutt.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that was good.
That's an interesting way to get in there.
Yeah, that was
that's a swing for the fences on that too. For that's what
that was actually got me into IPAs. that is legitimately I
think that the IPA that I found that actually maybe because I was the same way. As soon as I saw the letters IPA, I turned my nose. I was like, nope.
No.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I was down in New Orleans and had one from Abita called Giacomo IPA, and it was a complete accident. I was there and somebody was at the bar and they opened it to give it, and the guy was like, that's not what I ordered. And so the bartender was like, well, I'm either going to dump it out or do you want it? And I was like, oh, it's an IPA. Well, it's free beer.
Yeah.
I'll take it. And
let's go for it.
And then I tasted it. I was like, no way that's an IPA.
But
okay. And then I was like, was dipping my toe in the water, and now full-fledged
hophead.
Certified.
Well, I was going to say, it's also what we consider IPAs up here in the Pacific Northwest.
And that was the other thing is I didn't realize the different styles around the country, really. I just knew the West Coast, specifically the Pacific Northwest coast IPAs that they were just bombs of hops and bitterness, and like we talked about the IBUs being by the wayside. Like you said, they were just trying to see how big of a number, even though the human tongue doesn't taste after 100, 110.
About 2017, 2018, I went down to South Padre Island for work. So I went to the one brewery on South Padre Island, and we have people coming in. So I'll finish up the story real quick and we'll close out. But I went in, and the guys were originally from Minneapolis or Minnesota.
Okay.
So his dark beers were good.
Yep.
And then all his light beers were definitely geared towards college students because it's South Padre Island, and I was also there during spring break.
Yep.
I actually was there during spring break. But I sat there and I had his IPA, and I actually ended up talking to this guy that I didn't realize was the brewer until after I had gotten through. He asked me about what I thought about all the beers and stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, your IPA could use more hop. And he sits there and he stops and goes, where are you from? And I sat there and I was like, Washington State. He goes, oh yeah, no, it's called a Pale Ale up there.
Yeah.
Immediately he knew.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm from Washington State. He's like, yeah, my IPA is called a Pale Ale up there. Your Pale Ale is what the rest of the country calls IPA. So, but yeah, we'll go ahead and close out.
Like, subscribe, comment.
Follow. And Stefan, Schwartz Beer. I'll look into that. I'm just trying to keep that. Marcus, do you have any social medias you want to plug other than Community Pints Instagram page?
No, I mean, follow Community Pint.
They post their tap list every
I think it's Tuesday. I think it's Tuesday tap list now.
If they want to
Yeah.
follow you on
Tap
social
Tuesday.
media, where can they do it?
Do you do social media?
Hang on, let me find out. Yeah, but I don't use a whole ton, so let me see what my handles are.
I was gonna say he might post some beer stuff.
A little bit here and there, usually of me drinking in various places. How do I figure it out? See, this is how.
Yeah,
smart I am.
and Phil, thank you. Yeah, I've learned more being here.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, so
it's _low. So THE_LOWE. And yeah, I don't do a whole lot on there, but I'm being convinced by my friends to start being a little more active on it.
well, and also if you shoot him good breweries to go check out, he
Oh
might.
yeah, please, because I mean I travel all over the country and just cleared my passport, so I'm going to be traveling internationally again.
Yep.
Pretty soon. So yeah, let me know because I absolutely love being in new places with new beers.
And then in 2 weeks, follow, and also just in general, so you can see my journey with this new brewery, Bear Puncher Brews. That's me. Yeah, and we'll
If I'm drinking
do
your
that.
beers, I'm gonna go punch bears afterwards. I'm gonna love those beers.
I will tell you the story after the live stream's
The
done.
bears
because-
probably won't love those beers, but I'm gonna love those beers.
So, yeah,
End of stream in 3, 2, 1, boop.
that actually was really good.